Welcome to Giants Latest. Let's get right into it and start with the offensive line because Joe Schoen announced during the draft that they did not pick up Evan Neal's fifth-year option. Surprise, surprise. I know we are all absolutely shocked by that. Obviously, it was the right move. But while we're on the offensive line, I want to talk about this before we transition to Marcus Bowe, one of the Giants' new draft picks. So Evan Neal, they have talked about moving over to guard. And when we talk about Marcus Bowe, I think that's going to make a lot more sense. Obviously, one of the reasons for that is that he has been awful as a tackle in the NFL, and he has experience as a guard. So I think it makes the most sense there. They have their two starting guards in Runyan and GVR, but I think there's really going to be a heavy rotation at the guard position, at least through camp and preseason before they decide on who's going to be the starters. I think Jon Runyan is not going anywhere. I think GVR, they kind of just signed as a starting option, but they do have a lot of other guards on the roster between Evan Neal, Josh Azudu, Austin Schlottman plays guard. Who am I missing? I'm missing a couple other guys, but they also brought in Forsyth and James Hudson, who both play tackle. So let's talk about tackle because Marcus Bowe actually was listed as a guard and he has guard and tackle experience, but most recently his last year at Purdue, he was a starting right tackle. So when Daboll and Schoen spoke to the media after drafting Marcus in the 5th round, Daboll said, we're going to start him at tackle. And Schoen, under his breath, said, geez. So I thought that was interesting, but I think that kind of just confirmed what we've also been suspecting is the fact that Evan Neal's going to a guard. It's going to be Andrew Thomas and Illuminor as the tackles. And then if God forbid Andrew Thomas, knock on wood, let's all pray that that doesn't happen. If he moves over to, if he gets injured, Illuminor goes to left tackle. And then I think at right tackle, they would have Bowe. He would be the plan as to be the starter. It's either going to be him, James Hudson, or Stone Forsyth. I am hoping that Marcus is the best of the three of them because I don't, to be honest, have a ton of faith in the other two guys, even though they're veterans and they were brought in during free agency. It's great to have some options there, but I don't really know how great either one of them are. So let's talk about Marcus Bowe. He came from Purdue. He's reuniting with former teammate Tyrone Tracy Jr., which I think is going to be great for both of them. He is 6'4", over 300 pounds. He was projected to go rounds 3 to 4. The Giants got him in round 5. Amazing value there. There was some speculation that he might have fallen because he had some sort of injury issue, but Joe Schoen that they found nothing of the sort, and he was perfectly healthy and not a problem for them. So love that. He was a junior entry, 3-year starter. He dealt with an injury his sophomore year, but then started all 14 games as a right tackle his junior year. He's quick off the ball, has good initial burst. He does have a lack of bulk in his athletic frame, so keep your eyes on that because I'm curious if that's something that the Giants and Carmen Brasillo try to focus on because that's something that they had Jalen Hyatt do this offseason. He bulked up and added about 10 pounds. We've seen them do this with different players. They did it with Cordell Flott. So I'm curious to see if that's something that they really focus on with Marcus Bowe too. He's got good movement, good understanding of where the linebackers are going and can make it to the second level relatively quickly. Very good with his hands. He's good at keeping a blocker at bay, reacts quickly to counters, and has very patient footwork. In the right situation, he will be developed as a versatile offensive lineman. This is what we have heard. All the talk with the Giants is focused on versatility, and you can see that with the draft picks that they have made over the last couple of years, and especially the guys that they bring in free agency. So Bowe has experience playing guard and tackle, even though it sounds like he's going to end up being the tackle. I want to read you guys a quote from him during his introductory presser, because when we talk about the guys that the Giants bring in, a lot of their focus, and I know we hear them say smart, tough, dependable all the time, but they really brought in guys who are what Daboll was classify as dogs. Between Nubin and Neighbors and Drew Phillips last year, they did that with these guys this year, and Marcus Bowe is no exception. Listen to the quote from this guy. Putting people on the ground, winning reps, demoralizing people. It's always fun. It's part of the reason why I love the game. This is what I want from my offensive lineman. And I know Andrew Thomas is a gentle giant, and that's why we love him. But I want someone who is going to bully the shit out of the defensive lineman in front of him. bully them, put them on the ground, block for your quarterback, give your quarterback the confidence that they have time to get done what they needed to do. Speaking of the quarterback, we got to go right into Jackson Dart here because we have a lot to discuss about him and we haven't really talked about him much on this show. And the reason for that is because I didn't think that the Giants were going to draft him. And now that they drafted him, it's time to discuss. So here's what I'm going to say. On draft night, I didn't love the pick, mostly because I was worried they weren't going to be able to get good players in that middle range of rounds 3 to 5. And those are some of the guys that have really contributed to this Giants team as a whole, offense, defense, special teams, whatever it is. So the fact that they were able to get guys like Marcus Bowe, Cam Scattaboo, and Darius Alexander, all guys that I loved that I didn't think they'd be able to get by giving up that 99th pick, I feel a lot better about the Jackson Dart situation. I also have spent a lot of time over the last few days watching Jackson Dart interviews. I watched the John Gruden one. I watched him on Up and Adams with Kay Adams. I watched his overtime show. I watched his press conferences with the Giants. Like, I have learned a lot about Jackson Dart in the last couple days. And, you know, like I said, when they focus on guys who are tough, Jackson Dart is not a guy that I would want to, I think, play any sport against because he strikes me as the type of guy who would rub it in until you cried. And I like that about him as a quarterback. I like that he's fiery. I like that he shows emotion. I think most of the time that's good. I think when you have a coach like Dable who's also like that, we've had some concerns about Dable that sometimes, you know, throwing a tablet at your quarterback is not really a great idea when it's on national television. So I like that side of him. I think if you're in the New York market, you have to be like that and you have to be able to take what the media and fans are going to say about you because there's going to be a day when it's ugly. And I don't know if you guys watched the Florida game. He had an amazing game until the last couple minutes where he threw 3 interceptions. And I think it was a matter of 2 minutes or less. So, you know, he's going to have challenging times and he's going to have to deal with adversity. And he was very upset after those interceptions. He had his head in his hands. It looked like he was crying. And I'm okay with that. Like I said, I'm okay with them showing emotion. I just think that the time and place has to be right. Right? And in a situation like that, I get it. The game's over. It's another SEC team. It's a big game, one that you have to win in the conference, things like that. And, you know, when it's kind of your fault throwing bad interceptions, you know, you have to be able to take that in. So anyway, this to me is a pro side of Jackson Dart, that he's got that tough personality and he's going to be able to hang in New York, which is a necessity because like I said, he's going to deal with some ugly things that people say about him. And, you know, I think that he's capable of responding the right way. I hope. I think he's going to have his moments. He's young, like Malik Neighbors was, and Neighbors said some things to the media that he shouldn't have, and he learned. And that's all I expect from these guys. I don't expect them to be perfect. I expect them to make mistakes. Nobody's perfect, but you got to learn from those mistakes and take it a step further and improve upon them. So Jackson Dart is 6'2", 223 pounds. He is from Utah, played at Ole Miss, and had an amazing career at Ole Miss. He broke Eli's record for the most passing yards in a season. He did fantastic in Lane Kiffin's system and overall did a really nice job at Ole Miss. So great college experience. He started 41 games, and during that time, he actually was still able to come out as the youngest quarterback, I believe, in this class. So great that he has a lot of starting experience. All of these things are great things about Jackson Dart. His stats last year, like I said, over 4,000 passing yards. His completion rate was 69.3%. Great interception to touchdown ratio. 6 interceptions to 29 touchdowns. 495 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns, and his quarterback rating was a 180.7. So obviously excellent at Ole Miss, great career there, started all 3 years. He went to Southern California before he transferred, but he's got a lot of good qualities and traits. And I think when the things that we know about Dable is you can tell why he liked Jackson Dart, right? He's got that Josh Allen toughness. He runs people over, never slides for the life of him, which he has to learn how to do. But you can tell that he's a really great leader. He's on top of his players. He holds himself accountable. He has a strong arm, not the best in the class, but a strong arm, throws a really nice deep ball. And, overall, I think there's a lot of things to like about Jackson Dart. I can see why the Giants picked him, the potential that they see in him, and why they think that he's ultimately going to end up being a good quarterback and a franchise quarterback for the Giants. But he's not perfect, like no quarterback or no player in the NFL is. So let's go ahead and talk about some of his cons, because obviously, like I said, there are things that he's going to have to improve upon. And I think the best thing that the Giants can do is sit him for this year. Let him learn behind Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston. Let him sit and learn and understand Brian Daboll's scheme, his offense, all of the things that he's going to be tasked with doing. So when the opportunity comes next year, he's going to have the whole offseason to take it in, to build rapport with these players, and to hopefully in 2026 be a really good starter for the Giants. So, okay, some of the things that he is not great with. Like I said, the man has never slid in his life. And I know it's all fun and games when you're running people over. He is built bigger than Daniel Jones is. We know Daniel Jones took a lot of hits, and those injuries really affected his career. So Jackson Dart has to learn how to slide. And they didn't have a lot of success doing this with Daniel Jones. And I hope that they can do it with Jackson Dart, because even though he's a big guy, he's allowed to take some hits. He should take some hits. The guy, number one, has to learn how to throw it away, and number two has to learn how to slide, because that is not going to fly in the NFL. You cannot continue to take these hits if you want to have a long, successful career. So those are two things right off the bat that I really want to see him learn and improve upon, and I hope that he takes this year to do it. The other thing is that Lane Kiffin's offense is primarily play action. It is primarily RPO style, very simple. I don't want to say easy, because I don't think anything, especially in college football, is easy. And when I watched him and John Gruden going at it, it was like they were speaking gibberish at some times. So I don't think it's easy. I think maybe it's easier to learn and easier to execute than Brian Daboll's offense is. So he's obviously smart. He knows the sport in and out. He was able to hang with John Gruden. I really, really love that interview. If you're not sold on Jackson Dart, watch it. I think it'll just make you feel better, at least about his football IQ, which I think is going to be the number one reason why he might be able to take what he learned in Lane Kiffin's offense and apply it to Brian Daboll's, which we know is so much more difficult. So I really hope the fact that he has good experience, he got better every year in college, he's going to be taken under his wing with a lot of really good coaches, I hope, in the NFL, and that they're going to be able to take him to that next level. And of course, it's up to him. And, he told Kay Adams that he has slept in film rooms. They had to kick him out. He is a film junkie, and I think that that's something that's going to work to his advantage. So those are the things that I want to see him improve upon. He has also been known for having a gunslinger mentality, which in the NFL is going to lead to interceptions. So I want him to be able to throw the ball down the field. It's something that he's really good at, right? And he does have good accuracy. But he cannot be like Jameis Winston and willy-nilly throw the ball around, because like I said, in the NFL, you're talking about cornerbacks who are a lot better than some of the guys that he went up against again in college. And he has to be able to rein it in and make smart decisions, because I think some of the tight window throws that he made last year are not going to fly in the NFL, and he has to be able about being smarter about where he puts the ball. So with that, he can get a little reckless with his decision making, which we talk about with the interceptions. We talk about the fact that he's never slid a day in his life. Those are some things that he needs to improve upon. One more thing that is something that I would like to see him improve upon, and I'm not comparing him to Josh Allen, but I'm using Josh Allen as an example of something that he struggled with in college, and that once he got to the NFL with good coaching and with good help, he was able to turn around and improve upon. And that is his mechanics, because with Jackson Dart specifically, they can get lazy between his hips, which cause throws to go all over the place. And this is something that Josh Allen has spoken extensively about. He hired a very specific coach who focused on mechanics, who focused on moving his hips in time with his body, so he got the rotation and alignment to be a little bit more accurate with the ball. So something that I would like to see Jackson Dart improve upon too. You guys let me know what you think about Jackson Dart. Do you feel better or worse after hearing all of this? I don't know. Tell me how you're feeling about Dart and the pick overall. And, we're going to obviously be talking about him a lot more, but this is just the beginning. So make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more.